say the title of the fanfic.
Okay. The Drapple Chronicles. To be alone. Draco had been waiting all day for a chance to go to his dorm. Since the moment he had departed this morning, a miserable feeling had weighed him down. He had barely an energy to sneer at Potter and his blood traitor and mudblood friends. He hadn't even been able to make a comment about Weasel being poor. Crab and Goyle grunted to him about it afterwards, but he wasn't listening. His mind was at a far-off place, a place of paradise, where he and Apple could be alone.
He sighed dreamily, gazing up at Snape as he started potions class. He couldn't wait until lunch, when he could leave the Slytherin table. Hopefully Pansy or the others wouldn't try to follow, and he could get some alone time with Apple. If they did, he'd just ditch them, he thought, his eyes narrowing at the thought of one of them trying to keep him from Apple. He wouldn't allow that. Not one bit. Sorry, you started laughing. Okay. He just needed to see her, to hold her in his hands for a moment, which would keep him going until after dinner. He'd escape with her somewhere private if he had to.
Snape seemed to drawn on, and herbology took even longer. But as lunch drew near, he felt no grumble in his stomach for food, but an aching for Apple. He could only picture her in his mind. Why, he thought angrily, did he insist on her being cooped up in that room? He couldn't handle it. Obviously she couldn't either.
Draco? Pansy said, sending him a smile. Sit next to me?
No, he responded in his hard voice. I've got to go to the dorm and see get my book.
Pansy frowned, but nodded suspiciously. He headed out, his heart fluttering rapidly at the thought of seeing Apple.
Draco stormed in, not caring to check for dorm mates before slamming the door behind him. He ran to his dresser, dropping his bag at the foot of his bed as he went. He pulled her out of the drawer, smiling despite himself. With a content sigh, he lifted her up, so that the light from the shining candles glistened on her green skin. He lifted her close to his face, only an inch away.
Apple, he spoke, his breath caressing her gleaming green skin. Oh, how I've missed you today. Her scent filled his nose, wafting around him, an aroma so endearing. He ran a slim, pale finger across her skin, and couldn't help but let a sigh erupt from within.
Then slowly, agonizingly slowly, he brought her forward. His lips had barely grazed her skin when the dormitory door flung open. Immediately he stashed Apple behind his back as Blaze entered. Draco's heart was fluttering from an adrenaline rush. He had almost been caught. He thought as Blaze greeted him with a raised eyebrow. He could have lost Apple if someone else saw her, for surely they would want her, and Draco would not be letting her go. He would always love her.
Always.